Everyone. Thanks everyone for coming. It is Monday, February 23rd, 2026. This is a public meeting of the School Board of West Bend Joint School District Number 1. More than 24 hours prior to this meeting, notice of the time, place, date, and subject matter of this meeting was posted at the entrance doors of the Education Service Center and also on the district website. It was also sent to the West Bend Community Memorial Library, the Daily News, WRYU, the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, and other media sources that have requested notice of our meetings. And I'm going to pause to ask Superintendent Wimmer to confirm that this meeting was properly posted.
Yes, it was.
Great. Thank you. Please rise and join us in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We recognize a quorum of our board. All 7 members are in attendance tonight. Next on our agenda is to consider approval of this agenda, which was posted in advance. I'd move to approve this agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Kelly. We have a motion and second to approve this agenda. Any final discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. This motion carries. We move directly into 2 exciting recognitions tonight. We are going to start with state recognition for East Dance Team, and I believe Mackenzie Welnack, the East Director of Athletics, is going to walk us through this recognition. Good evening.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Mackenzie Welnack, and I'm the East Athletic Director. I'm really excited to introduce to you our East Dance coaches, Callie Madden and Michelle Zancanero, and the 11 amazing members of our East Dance team.
Hello, I'm Michelle Zancanero,
And I'm Callie Madden.
and we are the head coaches of the West Bend East Varsity Dance Team.
Our team members are senior and captain Maya Walksmooth, junior and captain Sophia Justman, sophomores Olivia Alvin, McKenna Davidson, Lucy Cluck, Carson Andre, and Lacey Harrigus. And freshmen Amelia Pachesny, Brooke Bovair, Harper Feller, and Nora Gaffney.
On February 6th and 7th, the team competed at the state dance competition in La Crosse. We qualified for state in Division IV Pom, Division II Kick, and Division II Jazz. That weekend, the team left everything on the floor and brought home 3rd place in Pom and 5th place in Kick.
This team has dedicated months of hard work, passion, perseverance, and commitment to achieve this historic season. They placed at every regular season competition and every routine and brought home both medals and a trophy from state, accomplishments that have never been achieved in the history of East Dance program.
Thank you for taking the time to recognize this incredible group of ladies tonight. We're truly grateful for the continued support from the school board, East High School, our dance families, and our community.
Thank you, and we'll proceed with our next recognition, which is state recognition of West Dance Team. And I see Erin Felber, our West Athletic Director, who will walk us through this recognition. Good evening.
Hello, thank you so much for having us. I'm excited to introduce our head coach, Mackenzie Miller, and our assistant coach, Morgan Miller, to talk about the amazing West Dance Team. Come on up.
Okay. Hi, I'm Mackenzie Miller. I'm the head coach of the West Dance team. And this is Morgan Miller, my assistant coach of the West Dance team. First of all, thank you for having us come to the meeting tonight. It's a big honor. I just wanted to introduce the team. So first we have Audrey Brown, senior captain, Evelyn Schaller, senior captain, Ella Bruss, junior captain, Olivia Kozlowski, junior, Sydney Brodzeller, sophomore, Marissa Miller, sophomore, who's not here, Faith Van Beek, sophomore, also not here, and then Haley Bushke, freshman, and Amelia Demlow, freshman. So if anyone knows anything about dance, it's an extremely long season. We began our season with tryouts last May, and our team continued to form our bond as we headed to the Just for Kicks dance camp in June, which is in Stevens Point. So from there, we prepared the whole summer to perform at soccer, football games representing West Spartans with pride. And a specific highlight was the opportunity to travel with the West football team to play as they were at the playoffs this season. So that was something we were really excited to do. But starting in November, we began competing in dance competitions all around Wisconsin, where we competed in D2 kick, D3 pom, and D2 hip hop. Dancers truly exhibited dedication, passion for the sport, and I'd say fierce motivation as we strive to reach high goals at each competition. And these efforts paid off as our team placed 5th place in D2 hip hop at WACPC regionals competition, which secured us a place at WACPC state in lacrosse. So being able to compete at this high level amongst the best dance teams in the state was a true honor and just a rewarding conclusion to our season. Both of us coaches are very proud of this team for all their accomplishments this season. Thank you, guys.
Well, congratulations, everyone, both to the East and West dance teams and students, coaches, parents, families. Obviously, it takes a lot of hard work and dedication, and we want to thank you for coming tonight and allowing us to recognize you, and thank you for representing our district so well. We really appreciate it. Congratulations on these amazing accomplishments. We're going to continue on with our meeting. Now, this is a public meeting, and we always encourage people to come and stay for the whole thing, but you may have other things to do tonight, so we're not going to be offended here after we pause if anybody wants to leave. But again, we thank you very much for coming, and again, congratulations. Thank you, folks. Thanks you, parents, as well.
Some of them were saying they have dance practice tonight.
Oh, my gosh.
The longest season ever.
Wow, no
so
kidding.
they might have just competed, but they're still not done.
Well, Superintendent Wimmer, it's not often that when I came to tonight's meeting, I struggled to find a parking spot, and we always like to have people at our meetings, so, yeah.
That's good. And as they leave, East always does a Dancing with the Stars event. I believe Kelly Lang danced
Did you, Kelly?
in that on Friday with the team. So well done. Yep.
I mean, you can call it dancing. Shout out to all those girls because, man, that is hard. I thought that I was in relatively good shape. I was not leading into this dance, but it was so much fun. And, like, they are such a great group of girls. I had so much fun, and I'm so happy it's over.
They're always scouting. I already tried to get Chris Jenkins signed up for next year. He's no stranger to a stage, so I thought maybe he'd be an easy
Very
mark
nice.
for next time.
Kelly, is there a video somewhere that I can?
There is, unfortunately, and you know what? I'm proud of it. I can laugh at myself and show everyone that I can do hard things. So yes, I'll show you the video.
Well done. All right, moving on our agenda. Next is public participation. I have no public participation comment cards, so we'll move forward then with the consent agenda. And we have a number of items on our consent agenda. I'll read them off. Minutes of the February 9, 2026 regular board meeting and executive session. Let's see if I've got it here. Sorry, there we go. Let's see, we have 5 contracts, I believe, 1 resignation and 1 retirement. Findorf AIA contract amendment for Silverbrook, Badger, and Green Tree site work. Pharmacy benefit manager consultant agreement. Head Start refunding application. Head Start selection criteria. Head Start training and technical assistance. Head Start bus monitor waiver. Early college credit program course requests. Start College Now course requests. The 2026-2027 East and West football program printing agreements. Sponsorship guide and itinerant services agreement. And I believe those are all the items on the consent agenda tonight. I'll pause. Are there questions on any of the consent agenda items tonight?
Chris, I just had a couple of tweaks that I suggested with the Head Start refunding application, just numbers that need to be updated.
Great, excellent.
Lenny knows about that.
All right, fantastic. You incorporated that numbering and such, okay. Okay. And just for the record, it sounds like it was reflected in the updated ones. Fantastic. So thank you for those suggestions, and thank you, administration, for updating the materials. With that, any other questions on any of the consent agenda items? Hearing none, I would move to approve this consent agenda. Is there a second? Thank you, Joel. We have a motion and second to approve the consent agenda items. Any final discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. Thank you. We move then to reports. Tonight, first, we have our construction report, and Mr. Tim Harder is coming to the podium to give that report. I'm just catching up in my agenda here. And Mr. Harder is our Director of Facilities and Technology. Good evening to you.
Good evening. Kelly, I just want you to know I was asked to dance. I turned down because I was out of town, which was probably a good thing for all the people there, just so you know. So yes. Oh, they've already asked.
I would
yes,
like you to
I just-
know that as a non-dancer, I have volunteered several years to be one of the judges.
They
So
tried to get me to do that
That is
next,
also an
so-
opportunity that
so
they
yes.
look for.
I'm just happy to know I can turn it down. Thanks.
Yeah, you can, Chris. Yeah. So just so you know that. So really exciting last 2 weeks here with a focus shift. We know we talk a lot about Jackson and that project coming up, but really the concept of we have some large amount of works happening at Badger across the street this summer, Silverbrook, and then the outside of Green Tree this summer. So as the board just approved this evening's AIA contract amendment, that is for the projects related to those 3 buildings. Those projects all came in under budget, is where we like to see when we come in from our bidding. Taking advantage of multiple subcontractors who actually bid on both projects and gave us a discount if they received both. And so our work is starting to plan with those teams. I have meetings set up with administration at Silverbrook and Badger as we start transitioning very shortly right outside of school to starting construction. As I was talking to Mr. Pickler, it's a short time in summer, just like last summer. And so any day, half a day you can gain getting stuff on site, getting stuff ready at the end of the school year, we will gladly take for that. So we will start some work at Green Tree, bringing stuff in, getting it on site, but we won't start any true parking lot demolition until after our staff is out of the building and our students are gone. At Badger and Silverbrook, we will try to do some work ahead of the game if we are capable of doing so. If not, we will look at the idea of at least getting things staged and ready to go. Badger's building will be completely shut down for the summer. We're doing a fire alarm change out there, so to be able to work in every space, it's just much easier to have everybody out of the building there. And then our most popular spaces typically in summer are our gyms anyways, and because we're getting new gym floor and bleachers, that would not be available at that point. Silverbrook, we will be doing construction on site while we do host summer school there, and our Y camp there. And so we've worked with our partners at Findorf to come up with a phasing plan in conversations with the police department about drop off and pickup, the Y camp and all of those different pieces, and we'll be putting out some very specific directions. But the nice work about Silverbrook is the inside work is easily done in areas that can be completely walled off or stopped from students going to. And so they are wings or portions of the building that we can keep them separated from construction at that point in time. I'll answer any questions you have.
Questions, board members? Any questions? No questions. Thank you very
Thank you
much
very
for the
much.
report. I appreciate it. We move to our compensation update, and Mr. Lenny Hansen, our Assistant Superintendent, will come to the podium to give that update. Good evening to you.
Good evening, and I'm joined by Director of Human Resources, Sarah Leatherman. So tonight, there's a number of action items that you'll see on the agenda that represent compensation increases for the current 2025-2026 fiscal year. There's a number of elements that came together for that to all be presented tonight. We are very thankful to the WBEA, who has engaged in base wage negotiations over several weeks, devoted a lot of time and energy. We also are grateful to Mr. Pickler and Mrs. Kruger, who were the board member liaisons on that team and able to participate and hear a lot of the really important dialogue that took place with the WBA. So we are very grateful to everybody involved in that process. A lot of good, I think, thoughts and philosophy exchanged in that process, which has led us to a base wage agreement that you'll see presented for action later on. So you'll also then see action items related to all employee groups. So We are also then positioned to move forward with increases for support staff, co-curricular advisors, athletic coaches, administrators, as well as our supplemental compensation rates for next year are also presented. So a lot of work goes into this, a lot of time and commitment by that WBA team as well as everyone else who's involved in that process. Very grateful for that. This, as always is the case here, increases are retroactive back to the start of the fiscal year. And we anticipate operating on a very similar timeline to where we were last year, which means on the March 26th paycheck is when retro pay will be issued, as well as all of the newly updated rates for everybody. That will then carry through to the remainder of the year. So appreciate everyone's patience. It's a important and can be challenging process to move through all of it, but really a lot of collaboration, a lot of really excellent idea sharing from our WBA partners, and we're grateful to be able to bring that forward today. So I'll answer questions here, and then really when we get to that point of the agenda, we can kind of just go hammer through them one by one, but happy to talk about any item related to those compensation elements now so that we can talk about that in its full context.
Well, thank you for teeing up the other items. That gives good context. Board members, any questions? Speaking of board, thank you, Joe. Thank you, June, for the work that you dedicated. And we also appreciate cooperation of all the parties involved, including WBEA.
All right.
So, all right.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll see you later. All right. Next, we have our superintendent's report. Superintendent Wimmer.
So just in time for Career and Technical Education Month, we received our annual update from Moraine Park Technical College related to dual credit courses that our students took during the last year, so 24-25 school year. They engaged in 35 different courses, 935 enrollments, resulting in 2,311 college credits earned. We have 11 credentialed staff members, our teachers, who are credentialed for dual credits, and that represents $381,000 in tuition savings for our students. So goals remain at least one dual credit opportunity in each career pathway that we provide for students. So this work and our collaboration with Moraine Park is just a testament to the dedication of our teachers in business education and information technology, family and consumer sciences, technology education, and health sciences. And also, we have a very active business advisory committee who works and helps develop curriculum, and we're always looking at ways to improve overall opportunities for students and opportunities for them to gain college credits and experiences while still in high school. So just a shout out to the department, the students, and that partnership with Moraine Park on that achievement. This week marks Charity Week at the high schools. The Student Council plans a week-long event that ends with a charity dance on Saturday. Charities they have chosen to support this week include Friends of Lac Oran Conservancy, Washington County Foster Closet, ALS Association, Boys and Girls Club of Washington County, Guitars for Vets, and the Ronald McDonald House Charities. We'd like to thank our high school club, local businesses that also are supporting these charities. They include Alpha Custom Apparel, Delta Defense, Fort Bank, Killian Management, Paul DeChant, PSA Labs, Regalware, Schlamer Law Firms, Seed Club, Steiner Electric, West Bend Insurance, West Bend Sunrise Rotary Club. So again, thank you to them for their support of this important week. Also, March 19th, mark your calendars, is early learning open houses. So if you're a future 4K student or family member who's interested in registering for our excellent early learning program, you're all invited to open house on Thursday, March 19th from 4:30 to 6 p.m. Join us to meet teachers and check out all the community partners that we work with to deliver a quality 4K program. Information's also on our website, so if you forgot that or you're looking at calendars a little bit closer when it's March, that information's there, and we'd invite you to come visit. Just a reminder to our community that the Rolf's Education Foundation Award and the Support Employee of the Year Award recognizes outstanding contributions to the district by our dedicated staff members. Nominations can be submitted by any employee, community member, parent, or students in grades 9 through 12. So to nominate someone for any of those awards, go to the West Bend School District website homepage to find those forms. Please submit your nominations by March 15th. Winners are recognized in May after a selection process. So again, check out that nomination process and make sure forms are in by March 15th. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to give us a call. I'd like to recognize some students for their state performances. So Gavin Schaubel finished second overall at the recent 2026 WIARA State Snowboard Championships. He was first in slalom, second in border cross, and 12th in giant slalom, which put him second overall. Boys swim and dive competed this past weekend. The boys swim and dive team finished 10th at state championships. Drew Gundrum took third in the 100-meter freestyle and fourth in the 100-meter backstroke. In addition, the 200-meter medley relay teams of Wesley Alith, Drew Gundrum, Colton Malter, and Jay Perush took fourth. And then also this past weekend, we had our wrestlers competing in some difficult matches, but Jack Lubinsky and Colin Weber of our wrestling team will compete at the WIA state competition at the Kohl Center in Madison this coming weekend. They qualified this past weekend. So just a congratulations to all the state qualifiers. It's a great way to finish the season, but we also appreciate them representing West Bend at the state level. If you've never seen, I think they post them on some of their athletics pages, some of our district pages, but to kick off and do a send-off, our drum line kind of marches through at the end of the day and kind of creates a parade and recognition for all our athletes, where administration, and I go on behalf of board and administration as well, thanks them, and then we seek their return, just as we did tonight with the East team. Once they represent our district at the state level, we bring them back for recognition. So again, congratulations to all those students, and we'll see you soon for your recognition. That completes my report.
Thank you. Any questions for Superintendent Wimmer regarding her report? All right. Thank you very much. We move then to discussion items. Our first discussion item tonight is capital maintenance projects. We invite Mr. Harder back to the podium.
All right, good evening, board members. Typically, we do this a little bit earlier in the year, but as we are involved with some referendum work and some different pieces, we took the opportunity to align or realign some of our capital work to align with the work that we're doing as part of the referendum. And you'll see some examples that through here that allows us to save some dollars instead of bringing contractors back on site and or digging back into ceilings or portions of buildings that we just opened up the summer prior. And so as we talk about our projects for next year and where we're going, when we look at this as a whole, when you talk about our department statistics, this last year we saw just shy of 15,000 total tickets that our team worked on. 2,000, little over 2,000 of them are what we call corrective maintenance tickets. Those are put in by staff when there's a leak, when there's a heating issue, there's a plumbing issue, et cetera, at that point in time. We do take pride in completing our preventative maintenance tickets. That's what keeps our equipment running longer, as long as possible, making sure that it's running and operating effective and efficiently as we move forward. And so this is actually a pretty good balance, talking with other directors, talking with our team. We would rather be doing the preventative maintenance side of it. Unfortunately, lately in the last couple of weeks, as I've shared with you through the board updates, we've had some little larger corrective maintenance items that we're dealing with. But the other benefit is we have a pretty good team here where most of that is now being handled in-house instead of having to call outside vendors, which allows our dollars to go a little bit further. As we look at our department and as we look at some of our requests, you're looking at kind of the background every year. As Mr. Hanson presents, this is a dollar that's budgeted that goes up, a percentage as we go forward. Our roofing requests align with our district roofing replacement, so that is the most important part of our envelope that we can keep our buildings dry and taken care of at that point in time. So those are areas where we revisit every single year to make sure that we are dealing with that. Not only do we use our own internal data, as you remember, the board and the district received reports from EUA and Findorf as they evaluated our buildings, our systems, et cetera. So we utilize that data. We continue to work on focusing and updating fixing issues related to HVAC at buildings and to provide energy savings and efficiencies. And not every project that we do can totally be recouped in energy savings costs. It does allow us to save dollars as we go forward, and you'll see some of that in here. We also look and ask the board to request to remove or sell all of the equipment that we don't utilize as part of our department anymore as we go forward. And so when we replace items, we will often put them up for public auction. We will trade them in for a value. You'll see some examples of those here. Very similar to us posting the building down in Jackson on the public auction site at that point in time. Project timeline, I mentioned before that we're trying to line the work with the referendum, so it allows us to not have multiple costs as we change things out. We continue to bring more projects in-house. So lately, the flavor of the game has been some plumbing issues up at the high school related to some older cast iron pipes. We have been able to replace 95% of that work in the last year in-house instead of calling somebody else to do that, which extends our dollars at that point in time. Yes, we may have to do them on an off hour, which is an overtime or a holiday pay or something like that, but that is still significantly less than having to call an outside vendor in to do that type of work for us. We continue to look at other projects that we can do that with. We look at ways to partner with other agencies, and we are represented by a large group of people from our custodial to our maintenance team, and you'll see some projects today, and including two of them that we are actually presenting to do in collaboration with our high school construction class and instructor Rob Wilmus, which allows our students an opportunity to learn, work alongside some of our skilled tradespeople here, and it provides us a reduced cost at that point in time. So as we go forward, try to break our projects into some different types of pieces. So our first bucket of dollars is related to site work itself. So typically in our normal capital projects, we will do some sort of concrete repair and asphalt repairs, budgeted at $20,000 each at that point. Some of those concrete repairs are done in-house, so we have a team of people who are capable of doing some of those smaller repairs for us in-house. Asphalt repairs, depending upon the size, that is something that we do bid out or have somebody come in and do. This last year, we lost a portion of the high school soccer stadium retaining wall due to the floods this summer. As we rebuild that whole wall, we will need to rebuild the entire wall, not just the portion that collapsed. And so insurance will cover a portion of that. The dollars allocated here, along with some work at McLean that I'll talk about shortly, would cover the rest of that project. So that is a retaining wall that sits on the east side or the back side of that soccer field there. And we're looking to upgrade that a little bit, add in some additional water pieces to get water out so that the wall is not retaining that water behind it. We also have a McLean retaining wall back by the playground area that has started to shift and tilt a little bit over time. It's not a safety risk at this point in time, but it is something that we want to catch up front and take care of. So we would look to replace that out of those budgeted dollars there also at that point in time. So those would be projects that we would complete during the summer at this point. Other site continued piece, so something that myself, our administrative team, Superintendent Wimmer have been working on is the start of a few different replacement cycles. One of them is playgrounds here. So it's a need that we need to address from a safety standpoint, from an equity standpoint, to make sure each building has what is needed for them. So you'll see a larger dollar amount that is here for some dollars for Green Tree and McLean would be our first two places that we would start with. This really allows us to start to standardize and say, what does every elementary school get here? Not relying on a PTO or a fundraiser or whatever else. These are the basics that every kid gets at each one of our elementary schools as we move forward going forward. So we will develop that plan. It allows us to cycle out or change out many of the pieces that we have currently today that are end of their life cycle. And then as an overall piece, you will see the district release an RFP coming up here shortly that will provide and find a designer and an install team to do this. So this is a specialty niche area where you go to a partner, just like we partner with Findorf and EUA and others on other projects. We will be looking at a multi-year project with them where they would work at Green Tree, McLean, Silverbrook, and the new Jackson as we move forward at that point in time. And so those dollars would be allocated to start that process off this summer and then continue into next spring. When we talk about the building envelope, I talked about roofing before. This is one of our little bit lower years in terms of roofing, so we are doing some additional roofing work at Silverbrook. This is one of those projects in coordination with Kyle, our job superintendent, and Derek, our project manager, where we were able to save some dollars. So the portion of the roof that we are working on this summer is actually over where, in the music area, we're remodeling to put in some special education space there. By able to doing both at the same time this summer, instead of putting a new roof in, and then 3 months later, them finishing up their work and having to cut holes through it and everything else, we can actually prep and do all that work together at the same time. By us also having a roofer on hand, In any other portion of the building, they don't need to contract out a very small project and pay typically fees that are a little bit higher for them to show up to the job site. We do have some roof repairs, so we do run into issues, where roofs leak over time, even though brand new ones or whatever else, so we do allocate dollars to go with that. We also have two places where we are talking about equipment and material storage. So if you've ever been to Green Tree on the west side or the playground side of Green Tree, we have what I would call a very rude attempt at a storage building, which is basically some PVC pipes and a tarp. And it sits outside a classroom, and it is not the exact type of storage you want for the equipment that we invest in here. And both examples of these storage pieces are here. With the referendum and rebuilding that front parking lot to take care of the safe and secure pieces, we have the ability to take and pair some of that work that they are doing there to lay the foundation for a future garage and a storage, just like you might see at a McLean or a Decorah. Some of our buildings like Silverbrook actually have that built into them. This would allow for that to be built, and then what we would do is we would actually partner with our high school construction class, Rob Wilmus, and his team and his students would work with our trade partners to basically build from the foundation and the concrete floor up. So they would frame it, they would roof it, they would do the doors, we would work with them, we would do the electrical and all of that as we go forward at that point in time. Similarly, we have a failing shed over at our maintenance shop on Sand Drive. We also lost with the new Jackson site the storage that we were using down there for our DPW building. And what we've been doing is we've been storing our equipment out of the different areas. I brought it with, yes. The remnants, the remnants of being sick last week. Excuse me. We have been using that facility to store our equipment. Instead of putting all of our outside field work, all of our things like our seeders, our field, our turf equipment, all that sitting outside, being damaged by the elements, everything from grass seed to fertilizer to the clay that we use on the mounds, we have a failing smaller shed, and in talking with Rob Wilmus, they have the ability in partnership with my crew and his crew to actually build a pole shed on site to store all of our stuff as a cold storage shed at that point in time. Both of these projects would need plan approval after the board's approval to go through the city, just like we would with Jackson and all of those different pieces we go forward. But a unique opportunity for us to actually do these projects at a much cheaper cost and provide our students a very unique opportunity for them to build and work on site at that point in time. As we continue to move forward, interior finishes, we always, the last 3 or 4 years, Dave Ross had started this, the ability to start doing painting. And I remember when Dave retired and he said, Tim, this might sound really, really small, but the fact that we're talking about allocating dollars to paint on the inside of the building means we're taking care of the mechanicals in a better way. And so this year we're allocating some dollars. This will be a partial set of work done in-house and by a outside vendor if needed. And we are gonna target Badger and Silverbrook in terms of what that looks like as those buildings are partially shut down for the summer and touching areas that aren't touched by the referendum and painting and taking care of those buildings at that point in time. The last piece here that's a little bit different than in other years is sometimes it's capital projects and sometimes it's equipment. And to take care of the equipment piece here, we are requesting $1 allocated for new district plow trucks. So 2 of our plow trucks are pushing the 15-year-old range. They are, the box and the floor is starting to rust out. They are past their time. They are the lowest mileage, most abused vehicles we have in the district. And when you are constantly driving around with salt and plowing and so forth in them, they have seen their life cycle through. They are needing some significant amount of work, so we are requesting dollars this year for a replacement piece on that. And then this is one of those examples where we talk about selling or trading in equipment. The district, whoever we buy through on the state contract, would actually, we would work with them to take a trade-in value on that plow truck at that point in time. Mechanical systems. So this is where I talked about the ability to manage our HVAC systems. And if you talked about one of the larger pieces of our budgets here, especially in the maintenance department, is our utility costs here. And it's something that doesn't go down in any way, shape, or form. As you have seen over the past few years, going back 5 or 6 years now, we have started changing over to new control systems in the district. And so we are presenting 2 different this evening. Those being Badger and Silverbrook, very similar to last summer with the referendum. We did Green Trees and McLean's at the same time, in essence saving us thousands of dollars when ceilings are open and you're bringing everybody in. What you're seeing here is basically a regut of the entire control system of our HVAC system. And what that allows us to do is provide more individual control by space, have a safe and secure system. So for example, one of our systems is beyond the point where we don't even put it on the network yet. You have to go to the building and you have to be in-house to do this. It is no longer secure. And now we will be able to actually monitor and control this in a 24/7, 365 environment with alerts, and then be able to control so that if we are having problems in Ms. Swimmer's room, but not in Mr. Jenkins' rooms next door, we can control them individually at that point in time. This would also bring 2 more systems under our current systems, which means we don't have to maintain multiple different control systems across the district at that point. The last budgeted dollars amount here is a focus on some wastewater pipe replacement and also some gas line work up at Green Tree. So many of our buildings were built in the day and age when you had cast iron, and cast iron fails at some point in time. And it has been an ongoing issue up at the high school for over the years. This is dollars allocated to continue to do that work, and we would look to do that work in-house as much as possible with our maintenance team here by replacing various different sections out at that point in time. And then we would also work on the domestic water side if needed, but our focus really is on the gas line replacement and on the wastewater pipes up at the high school at that point. So those are the projects we have for this evening. I'll answer any questions you may have.
Board members, questions? Joe, I saw you reach for your microphone.
Okay, so starting at the bottom, I guess, and working our way back up. So the HVAC, I imagine with the work we did in, I believe you said it was Green Tree and McLean, I don't know if we'd be able to estimate what we're saving on energy costs, but vendors that put those kind of systems in love to be able to tell what they'll save you. So do we know?
So in this case, we will say it's really hard because what we're saving now in amount, we don't actually save in money anymore. So when I look at our year comparison, you don't even save the dollars that you save anymore. What I can tell you is we see about a 10 to 15% reduction as a whole in the building. The one thing that a system like this does allow us to do, Joe, is it allows us to start nitpicking by rooms and individual air handling units and so forth, so that if I know that Mr. Jenkins is going to be here till 7 o'clock at night, I can just turn on his space instead of this third of the building. So what's interesting in the utility world is, and again, we just had a pretty cold month here, which doesn't help the cause to that, is when you look at our usage, we actually may drop our usage in some of our buildings. Our overall bill is still much higher at that point, but we are seeing a gain in return on that. It also allows us to control and set our temperatures up more accurately for when we have events on the weekends, preheating our buildings in the morning for when we have cold. So there's a cost savings to it. It's not like a focus on energy that says you're guaranteed to get your 35% back at that point in time.
Yeah, and to your point with rising energy costs, it's hard to quantify, but it really is about the usage.
Yep.
The other one was on the retaining walls, and I can't picture the ones in question, but I've seen a project where a retaining wall went from a one-tiered wall to a multi-tier to.
You must have sat in the conversation about the high school soccer one. So our high school soccer one is one that a portion of it failed about 7 years ago, and a portion of it was rebuilt. Now, another portion has failed due to the amount of rain that we had this summer. It is built with what I would call a traditional larger landscaping retaining wall block. It is one straight up. And because of the lack of water movement behind it, it does build up to that. We are actually looking at replacing that one with what looks to be a 2-foot tall by 4-foot wide. It's almost like a concrete block that we would actually stack on top of each other to prevent that. And we're looking at a 2-tier system, getting a little bit higher on that soccer field so that it doesn't just pitch so the water's coming over the top, so that if we ever had to regrade that space or whatever else, you do have that. So looking at something a little bit beefier, the fact that it's failed twice in the last 8 years is a reason to look at something different than what is not working for us. And so really it is those larger concrete blocks that you'll see up there, and then they actually come with a precast face that looks like it's a retaining wall block, or at least something with a texture in it at that point. The one at McLean is actually a poured concrete, so the nice part is it is a true legit section of it that we could take down, re-pour, pin into the other wall, and go at that point. So,
Board members.
I was
Mr.
just asking
Jenkins.
about the plow truck, considering I just bought a municipal plow truck for $275,000. I want to know,
Yeah.
what kind of plow truck are you getting for 60?
Not like what you're buying, Chris. I can guarantee. I have one of those. So we do run a full dump truck, a municipal plow truck like what you were talking about. We nickname it Big Red.
Yep.
That's what our guys who drive it, they call it Big Red. This is more of your traditional plow truck, a pickup truck with a plow in the front, those types of things. We put a salt spreader on the back of it. That's what we're talking about there. This is not a, like you see the city of West Bend driving downtown at that point in time. So I wish I could get that for those dollars.
Then I'm assuming that you can then take that back off and use it during the summer,
Yes.
year-round?
Yeah,
for other
we use them
purposes,
year-round. At that point in time, they do just take a lot of wear and tear. And after 15 years, that does tend to happen over time. There will be a point in my career where we will need to replace our dump truck. I'm not looking forward to that point in any way, shape, or form. But yeah, it is not what you were thinking, I'm guessing.
Especially because
at
they're
that
like
point.
3 years out to build and
Yes.
have fit, and yeah, okay, great.
Other questions? Just one quick question. The last items we talk about, the waste pipe replacement and the gas lines. And I think at prior meetings, you've talked about the qualifications of the individuals that we have on staff. Because when I see gas line replacement and do it yourself, you think, okay, that might, sorry, it's the insurance person in me.
No, Chris, what you really want to know is Tim in there helping, and yes,
Yeah.
I do help, but there are much
Yeah.
more qualified people than me who do. So we are very lucky. We have an electrician on staff. I'm also very lucky that our project manager in the facilities department here that oversees our maintenance team is actually a master electrician also. We have an HVAC technician in-house who manages a lot of this, and when you talk about controls, having one system to go to instead of 7 of them to go to, et cetera, help with that. We also have a very talented maintenance team who can do some of the plumbing work. You don't always have to have a plumber's license to do that work, but they are very skilled in doing these work. And I've had the pleasure, joy, I don't know, sometimes the middle of the night conversations when we're working on stuff. They are a team who knows what they're doing at that point in time. And we know there's a point. We had a HVAC issue with an air handling unit, as you know, down at Jackson. That was something that was way above our pay grade to handle. Then we're going to go find somebody else. But $60,000 on some gas line or some waste line replacement doesn't go very far. For us doing it in-house, we're hoping to at least double and triple the linear feet that we can do. So we have a very talented team of people who can take care of those things for us.
Perfect, appreciate that reminder. And then lastly, we had, gosh, I don't know if this was more than a year ago, I think we had challenged you and your team to say, let's look at that maintenance and let's see what makes sense to do at the same time while we have the hood up, so to speak. And I see that theme here and just want to thank you for following through. These all seem to make sense.
And then our next larger goal is to really to dig into that future capital maintenance plan. So we have been working behind the scenes. Dave Ross, even though he's retired, come back and is helping with that, working with our Findorf team, really starting to figure out what the next piece is as we start to know, okay, we know these buildings are going offline. We know what the work is at each building. Really targeting a lot of our capital maintenance has been the behind the scenes mechanical items in the past. Balancing that with sometimes you do need to just come in the room and put new carpeting and lighting in at that point. And so we're actively building on that and looking forward to bringing that in the future also.
Board members, other questions? So this is a discussion item. It'll come back for action on the next agenda. I guess I'd ask the board, any objections to placing this on the consent agenda? Okay, great. And in the meantime, so we'll plan on that. In the meantime, if anyone does come up with a question, in the meantime, if we just, Superintendent Wimmer, if they bring it to you, we could place it on the regular agenda. Otherwise, this will appear on consent. Thank you for your presentation. We appreciate it. We move then to technology projects, and Mr. Harder is
I thought I'd stay
right
up
in
here
the
one
right
more
spot.
time. Yeah. It was funny. Ms. Wimmer and Peggy both said today, well, you're up there a lot. I am. So as we go through, it's also that time where we talk about technology. This is one where the last couple of months have been very, very interesting. I just referenced the utility cost piece. The hard part in technology right now is the prices are all over the place and they change by the day. So you'll see some reference to that as we go forward. Again, providing department statistics. I am supported, and the people who do the work every single day manage all of these different pieces on the board here, and we do not outsource hardly anything here. We are actually in the process, so you'll see on the far right of this slide here, we are actually actively engaging in professional development with our team here to take all of our security work in-house with our security systems. That's our cameras, our door intercoms, our cards, our panic buttons, all those different types of things, and partnering them then with our maintenance team, our electrician, and our low voltage guys to be able to actually take care of most of that in-house. Now, would we do a remodel like a construction project like at a Green Tree or McLean? Probably not. But when we talk about adding 40 new cameras in a year, we are doing them all in-house, and we're not paying that labor rate at that point in time. You can see we had a very large year, 6,300 requests, which is up a lot more than we had prior year. There's a variety of things that drive that, from models of devices to the ever so popular, and we had another one today. Let's try to scam people and click on an email. And so every one of those pieces of work here get tracked in our department here. We move about 2.75 terabytes of data a day in and out of our system, and we have about 6,600 unique wireless devices on our wireless every single day. And this is supported by a team who sits in the area here next door. They also have what I would call a very, very high and a very, very quality approach to their work that they do here. And the surveys that our staff provide on their work tell us that every single time. If there is an issue, they follow up with it and they get it taken care of at that point. So I'm very appreciative of that team as we move forward here. As we talk about the background for this year's budget request, this is the year, it's almost like COVID over again in 2000, when all we hear is don't know if devices will be available, and I can't tell you what the price is past 5 days from now. And that's just the rapid market. A lot of it is being driven by RAM and devices. That RAM is being bought up for a variety of reasons. And so as we look at that, we are struggling to hold pricing a little bit longer. So we are actually delaying our Chromebook bid until we get closer to the board's approval of the budget. We also are struggling with vendors. Used to, I could say, hey, we are going to buy this from you here, Ms. Wimmer. I send you a letter, I send you a PO, but you know what? We don't open our fiscal year till July 1. The PO can't be paid till July 1. You just hold those devices in your warehouse. Now it's how much you're going to pay me per day to hold your devices, because we can't take them. How do we pay them early? So I've been working with Mr. Hansen and his team on all that. And so it's becoming very creative, and there are less devices available. We see that also on the network side. So we are reacting to that. We've adjusted some of our budgeted dollars and our timing of when we go to quotes. We actively engage our vendors to find out when they hear of cycle changes in pricing and so forth at that time. And we will take our quote timeline and sometimes shorten them so that we can make sure we have accurate pricing at that point. Again, we focus all of our work around providing safe, secure, and reliable technology for our users. I talked about the team's high customer satisfaction. The one thing in years past that I've talked about is we've used E-rate dollars for some of our network equipment. E-rate is a federal funding mechanism for schools and libraries. We do not have any network style equipment that qualifies this year. Once in about every 5 to 6 years, we run into that cycle of replacement. We are hoping that the federal government looks at expanding their cybersecurity aspect of this. There might be some dollars we could utilize for some of the things you see in there, but we have not heard of that. However, we do file every year for a reduction on our internet services here. And so we typically get about 50% off of our internet costs through that federal grant at that point. These projects, again, part of our planned updates replacement, and we ask that the board approve the sale of all of our old technology items or trade-in at that point in time over the next year. That allows us to turn those things over. For example, when we sell our laptops, when we sell our Chromebooks, those dollars are put back in here. The other thing that I want to provide an update on is 2 years ago, the district started taking care of all of their Chromebook fixes in-house. And we are now at the point where all of that is handled in-house. We actually, every single time we fix a device, we get paid a per diem, and then depending upon the type of fix, it actually changes the dollars with that. That's been a very successful way for us to raise some additional dollars to help us expand what we need to do, as sometimes those prices fluctuate and take care of some different technology things. So all 5 of our computer technicians and our youth apprenticeship intern, Aiden, are certified by HP. They are able to fix it, no different if I sent it off to some distribution facility that fixed it on site. They pay us instead of paying their own people to do that at that point in time. As we look at our budgeted items and our project list for the year, some more network behind-the-scene things that you would see. What's called a SAN, or a storage area network. This is, in essence, the largest hard drive you can think of that stores all the data that we have here in the district, from Skyward, both student and finance, many of the other databases that we have here. This holds all of that data, then it is called out to the 120 different servers, virtual servers that we run here. This is a critical piece of infrastructure for us. It means if it works, Skyward's up and running. It means we can serve lunch, all those different pieces that get tied back to that Skyward system. When you see these dollars, typically we are looking for a 5-year investment minimum for a piece of equipment with the warranty up front. And warranty in this case comes with hardware, software, and replacement support, sometimes within a 4-hour time frame for that 5 years at that point in time. We have found typically 5 years is the sweet spot for the reduction in the warranty costs. 2 to 3, sometimes you don't get that dollar per year driven down, where if you buy 5 up front, you're typically holding devices like these for 5 years at minimum anyways. And so many of these items you will see as 5-year contracts or 5-year support services at that point. These would also all go out to bid once we are done at that point. Security system backup. So as we expand our security systems here, we have more cameras, we have more card readers, all these different things. We are continuing to back up more and more critical types of items. We need to expand that opportunity for us. And so we're looking at providing some security server upgrades and backup systems for that. This would include a 5-year warranty as part of that process, and you can see the $50,000 allocated for that. The next item on there is one of those items that you don't like to pay the bill, but you know you need to have, and it saves us a lot. It is called Managed Detection and Response System. This is a software that we put on every single Windows device that leaves our district. So every single laptop we install this on. What it does is it checks constantly for all security pieces. We get regular updates to our devices. If I were to download something that is considered to be a scam risk, if it is a virus, if it is some sort of a threat, it flags it. In some cases, auto takes care of it. And then if it's a high enough level, it actually gets bumped to a support service 24/7, 365. We are not able to staff 24/7, 365 here in any way, shape, or form. And so this allows us to do this. This provides that support for the next 5 years. And so this is a very critical piece you need in today's cybersecurity world. And you know, in the last year, we had one person who clicked on something that looked like it was legit, it was a sponsored thing, and on Thanksgiving Day they downloaded something and this support service took care of it and notified us of it. It was taken care of immediately versus waiting for us to respond an hour or two later, calling that employee at home, et cetera. And then as soon as something changes in the world of security signatures, that automatically gets populated out to our system on the spot at that point in time. So it's the most instantaneous support you can get on your end user device at that point. The last thing is we allocate every dollar, or every year we allocate dollars for security system upgrades from cameras, card readers, et cetera. And as I talked about, the nice part is when we look at that dollar amount, we are typically just buying hardware and the licenses to support that. These would all be installed by our departments here at the district at that point. As we look at the end user devices as we move forward, so you look at the idea of your Windows laptops, Windows desktops. Really, we run Windows devices here for our staff, and in some select labs at the middle school and the high school for business ed, tech ed, health sciences, et cetera, in the libraries and so forth for some specialized software. We also have our Chromebook replacement cycle. This is probably the most volatile area of quoting we are seeing currently. This is the ones where the vendors say, I don't want to hold this for you unless you apply for this. Well, you know what, we'll lease it to you for 3 months and you can pay extra amount of money. This is also because it's a little bit of a lower end device compared to a laptop. You see the crunch on RAM happening at this point in time. So after the board, if you were to approve this package in 2 weeks, we will have our quotes ready to go and we will push POs the next day at that point. Just to take care of that. These are now fixed in-house. We do bulk sell those old devices out, and we have had good success with that and getting a decent dollar at that point in time. We have some copier replacements. We own all of our copiers except for 2 here. So the district made the decision about 8-9 years ago where we went to a ownership model for all of our what you would call regular end user devices. We have 2 high-end copy machines in a copier center. Instead of leasing them, because we have a large enough system here, we can actually put them on a cycle just like I can computers and so forth at that point in time. We purchase them. The sites pay their own usage fee, the per click fee that covers their toner, their service, and their parts and all of that. But we are saving dollars by buying them up front, and then I can choose how long each one stays based upon the issues we have with the equipment at that point in time, versus leasing it out and saying, yep, we're done in 5 years at that point. The last thing, as we start to switch over Badger Middle School, we are switching out from the old smart boards and projection systems, and with that, moving to a 6, 7, and 8 building. With that building being offline this summer for work, we would like to take advantage, use some of the current existing wiring that's in there to retrofit in interactive TVs and our audio enhancement systems and so forth as we go forward there. The remaining portion of our technology budget is not bought out into hardware or capital type items. They really support all of our software pieces. They're Skyward, Canvas, our website hosting, emergency alerting, the lovely, call in the morning that says you don't have to come to school, all of those types of systems that you may see here in-house. Our internet services, smaller parts, once in a while that professional support that we need outside of here, and other consumables. But that is the presented budget for you this evening. I'll answer questions.
Thank you. Board members, questions? Mr. Jenkins.
Just because I'm working on the policy for myself and 3 other municipalities, do we have like an AI policy in place? Or have you
So
thought
you
about
are-
how we're going to deal with this?
You are
as we go
starting,
forward?
yeah. So we're having conversations about it. We're very attuned to it. Many of the AI policies that are out there are just a use it, don't use it, which in the world of education is a very tough conversation because we have classes who are teaching it.
Yep.
And others that you don't. So I think those will see things. There are some coming from WASBO as some ideal policies you could look at. I think certainly in my time, there will be a time where we have that either added to a policy or a separate policy at that point.
June?
This is my wheelhouse, so.
Yeah, I say, June, we love this stuff.
Okay, so I realize that it can be a difficult task to keep costs low, so I really appreciate how you are taking these opportunities to, for our students to learn as well, because it always will grow their confidence, and overall it's just be exposed to the jargon and the how things are connected, and I think it's a fantastic way to keep those costs low and also expose our kids and to this area and help them grow their confidence. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
I think in the past we talked about the fact that we have server equipment and storage equipment.
Yep.
And it was all the rage for businesses to say, let's go cloud. And I think we've talked about that in the past, but there's logic behind that decision.
We do here, same concept. We have stuff that's in the cloud. Canvas is something that we buy as a service from somebody. On the other hand, if I was to send Skyward to be hosted somewhere else and managed by somebody else, I probably am going to pay more. And I lose control of when we do updates. So this last weekend, we just did a major upgrade here. We could sit down with my team and Mrs. Marshall, who runs our Skyward system, and she picks the Sunday morning she gets to do it versus, hey, we're gonna do it the Thursday night. Oh, and by the way, that's parent-teacher conference night, or whatever else happens. We have much more control over that. Our goal is really to shrink the amount of hardware we have, beef it up, and try to virtualize as much as we can. But certainly not like it was, when I moved over to the technology director role 12 years ago, the concept of physical servers, as we talk about adjusting where everything is at the high school, our footprint of our main data closet at the high school actually shrink as it moves. And so those pieces are still there, but it's also a different world where now we get contacted, well, this is down, yep, we're waiting. And that's the only answer we can provide to our staff because there's nothing we can do at that point in time. So it is a weird balance of you need some things, but yet there are other things I think that are so critical we would want to keep in-house for the district at this time.
Thank you. Board members, other questions? So this is a discussion item tonight. We'll come back for action next time, and I'll just ask the board, similar to the last item, any objections to this appearing on the consent agenda? All right. Seeing none, if there is any concern, Superintendent Wimmer will contact you in advance, and we'll place it on the regular agenda. Otherwise, this will appear on consent. Great. Thank you for your presentation.
Very much.
Next topic, high school's configuration. Superintendent Wimmer.
So we are solidly in the engagement phase of asking that question around the configuration of the high school, that 1 or 2 high schools. So I just wanted to kind of go over what we've done for engagement, communication thus far. We sent out multiple press releases. We received some significant coverage, I think, in print, digital, and TV coverage even. We got a boost from the City of West Bend social media, as well as all of our own social media outlets to kind of promote the conversation. We launched our own dedicated tab on the website really showing all those prior discussions, the slide decks, with the different slides that were used in community conversations. I'll upload those with some of the frequently asked questions that we've addressed, so we'll continue to evolve that page. We've done 5 different district newsletters on topic, and those are sent directly to our families via email, but also any community member can sign up to receive that directly to their inbox. And it's also accessible on our website too for those. And then we also did direct emails to families and students, grades 7 through 12, just for perspective, that's 7,500 dedicated emails to remind people to engage with that survey. And we had 2 community meetings, 64 attendees across both meetings, significantly higher attendance at the first meeting, 45 people there, and 19 at the second. That survey that I spoke about is now closed. We received 2,588 responses. 811 of those were students. Just for perspective, the survey that we engaged in for the referendum garnered 1,609 responses, so we cleared that. Right now, I'm in some targeted feedback with students at the high school and middle school. So today I spent all 3 lunch periods at one school. I'll go back to the high school again on Friday. And then on Wednesday, I'm at Badger. So just meeting with students over their lunch hours. We had foreshadowed, done some videos to launch that engagement, and really talking directly with them. Next steps, just to recall that timeline, really positions the board to have a synthesis of all of that feedback at your March 9th meeting, and then you're poised for any potential direction or further action March 23rd at that meeting. Any questions around as we kind of face the final weeks of engagement, anything that people want to see or want incorporated? Otherwise, again, I'll bring that synthesis of all those pieces for that first meeting in March.
Hearing no feedback.
We will continue to promote through newsletters, social media, et cetera, just so there continues to be awareness of the topic, the question, and solicit feedback. If they've missed that survey window, certainly just email me directly, and I'll include those comments in the synthesis for the board's review. So thank you.
Right, thank you for the update. We appreciate it. We move to action items. We have a number of items tonight related to compensation. First is the 2025-2026 Certified Staff Base Wages Agreement. And Lenny Hansen, our Assistant Superintendent, and Sarah Leatherman, our Director of Human Resources, have come back to the podium to walk us through these items.
Following up on our compensation update, we've just got a series of items we'll move through here, reiterating that we were very grateful to the several sessions that the WBEA participated in for negotiations which have resulted in this Certified Staff Base Wages Agreement, which we recommend for approval.
Board members, any questions on the agreement? Item was contained in our agenda. All right, hearing none, as soon as I can get to the right spot here. I move to approve the 2025-2026 Certified Staff Base Wages Agreement as presented. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Kelly. We have a motion and second to approve the 25-26 Certified Staff Base Wages Agreement. Any final discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries.
Next one is the support staff compensation for 2025-2026. What we typically do here is we bring forward what those compensation increases are, and then we typically at this time bring what the following year's wage scales are going to be as just a kind of a tie-in for that. So we, echoing what we've said before, appreciate the patience that staff has had as we've worked through this process, and would entertain the motion to approve those 2 documents.
Board members, any questions on this item, support staff compensation? Dr. Temez.
I'm just going to abstain from this vote.
Very well. Any other questions? Thank you. I would move to approve the 2025-2026 support staff compensation proposal and the 2026-2027 support staff wage scales as presented. Is there a second? Thank you, Melanie. Motion and second to approve the 25-26 support staff comp proposal and the 26-27 support staff wage scales as presented. Any final discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstain? Recognize that Dr. Temez is abstained. That motion carries. We move then to administrator compensation for 25-26.
Right, the administrator compensation proposal is presented in board docs, and like the other increases, is retroactive to the start of the fiscal year. So I'd entertain a motion if there are no questions.
Board members, any questions? Hearing none, I would move to approve the 25-26 administration compensation proposal as presented. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Jenkins. Motion and second to approve the 25-26 administration compensation proposal as presented. Any final discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you, that motion carries. We move then to co-curricular advisor and athletics coach compensation.
Also important to ensure that we continue to keep pace on these important extracurricular activity advisors. So we have both a proposal for athletic coaches and then a separate one for co-curricular advisors. And if there's no questions, I'd entertain a motion to approve those.
Board members, any questions on these items? Hearing none, I would move to approve the co-curricular advisor and athletics coach compensation proposals as presented. Is there a second? Thank you, Mr. Pickler. Motion and second to approve the co-curricular advisor and athletics coach compensation proposals as presented. Any final discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We move then to supplemental work compensation.
This refers to the various pay rates that are used for additional work or supplemental work that staff, whether certified staff or support staff, might complete throughout the year. And at this point, when we bring forward increases, is the typical time when we bring forward what that chart of rates would be for the next fiscal year, which would be 2026, 2027. So if there are no questions, we'd entertain a motion to approve that.
Board members, any questions? Hearing none, I would move to approve the supplemental work compensation proposal as presented. Is there a second?
Second.
Did I hear one from June? June, we'll take that. A motion and second to approve the supplemental work compensation proposal as presented. Any final discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries as well. Thank you to both of you for teeing these up so efficiently for the board's review. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
That takes care of our action items. We move to future agenda items and our board meeting calendar. On our board meeting calendar, we have regular board meetings scheduled to begin at 5:30 p.m. at the Education Service Center on March 9 and on March 23, both at 5:30 p.m. Curriculum Committee meetings scheduled to begin at 4:30 p.m. at the Education Service Center on both March 17 and April 7. And again, we remind the public to look for the official postings in case the date or the time or the location may have changed. Is there anything I missed on the board future agenda calendar? All right. Any other items for follow-up and communication? Actually, I think I had mentioned I will not be in attendance at the board meeting on March 9 because of a work conflict, and
I'll be here.
Fantastic. So our vice president will be chairing that meeting. Any other items for follow-up and communication? Hearing none, we have reached the end of our planned agenda, and so I would move to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Melanie. We have a motion and second to adjourn. Any final discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you, everyone. We appreciate your attendance tonight. This meeting is adjourned. We look forward to seeing you at a future meeting. Have a good evening.